Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation. Good evening and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I'm your host, Justin D. Morgan, and it looks like I did not squarely hit a button because I had to go reset the GFCI under the stairs. Let's see here. That's better. All right. Now that the dinosaur's inflating, we can get on with the show. Because actually, I saw the lights were on while I was resetting, when I plugged the smart outlet back in, but apparently when the smart outlet booted, it decided it was supposed to be in the off position. And I didn't look backwards. Or rather, I didn't look at my monitor to see what was behind me. Ah! A dinosaur! Alright. Let's see who is in front of me. We have Thomas Armstrong. Hi, Thomas. We have SadMac356. Hi, SadMac. We have I8386SX. Hi, Jesse. Jesse says MS-DOS because it's December. Yes, exactly. All right, we got the coffee go for the 3D printer. Link is in the video description. And because the basement is a balmy 46.6 degrees Fahrenheit, because it's cold outside, let's just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off and go to the following.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our favorite segment, Wheel of Regrets. Here's your host, Justin D. Morgan.
Hey, who comes up with these titles anyway?
All right, and we have an already opened box on the bench because there was a book inside the box that did not qualify for Wheel of Regrets. Therefore, I took the book out of the box and actually just didn't even bring the box downstairs. So this first item, or rather it's a couple items, because I bought a couple items from the same seller, including a book on Tolkien, before anyone wonders. Yes, that would be the J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of Lord of the Rings. To make sure we are crystal clear. This first set of items comes to us from an eBay seller in North Kakalaki, as my dad would call the state, or in other words, North Carolina. So hi to all my eBay sellers and viewers in North Carolina. So in addition to the book on J.R.R. Tolkien, we have a couple other items that are more appropriate for December. And this first item, well, I will give you general shape. So this first item is long. Sadmac says, ooh, Tolkien, yes. This second item is also long, and the third item I'm hoping is in there somewhere. Oh, there it is. It's short. And hopefully there's a ribbon cable in here, and a manual. Because I paid a few dollars more for the one they had that had the manual. Sadmac says, I sense at least one Trident card. Well, I hate to potentially disappoint. So what did I get for my dollars on eBay? Well, the first item, because I could not resist, is a Visa Local Bus SCSI card. It's an Ultra Store. So it has a high-density SCSI connector on the outside and a 50-pin connector on the inside, or at least I hope that's 50 pins. Some of the pins are slightly bent. I'm sure we'll get those back into place. It does appear as if this card might have some memory on it for, presumably for caching. But overall, I mean, it's a SCSI card. Because I couldn't resist. I think it came out of a gateway, looking at the sticker. So this was probably in a Gateway 486 at one point. Yeah, I was impressed how long the card was, because that's a lot of 74 series logic on this card. But yeah, I think these are RAM chips, and that kind of looks like a RAM chip. So I'm kind of wondering if this might actually be a caching controller card, or at least maybe a slightly buffering card. So, alright, that was item number 1. Now, the other 2 items I got are in this anti-static bag. The seller packaged things quite well. Oh, actually, there is actually something in this cardboard. Good thing I didn't just simply toss it behind me. Let's see if we can't open this. Oh yeah, there we go. It's the SCSI driver disk. So it looks like this disk has the DOS, NetWare, OS2, and Unix drivers on it. All right. That could come in handy. All right, so these other 2 items, use my new all right, we will go for the item. Jesse says, NetWare, head goes up in excitement. Maybe someday, but not for December. All right, the second item, which came to us in a black bubble wrap thing, we have an IBM MFM controller card. This is actually one of the XEBEC cards. XEBEC. This is not a high-performance card. This is actually a low-performance card. But I do have the IBM, the proper IBM for this card, and I have the proper hard drive for this card. So, by golly, I got the proper controller card. Because I'm trying to set up one of my XTs as more of a authentic XT experience. And then finally, last but not least, I think I kind of implied that I was going to find one of these for my Packard Bell. Jesse says, multitasking, I made a mistake with my batch of VGA to CGA adapters. I'm trying to correct that. Yep, I totally understand multitasking. I picked up a Creative Labs DVD decoder card, complete with the driver, probably ironically, a driver CD, the ribbon cable for connecting to the video card internally, so that you don't have to use an external loopback cable, and the manual. So I believe this would have been bundled with a DVD drive, if I'm not mistaken, but I am not aware that this kit requires a creative DVD drive to work. Sad access to Jesse. Here's hoping you don't immediately make the exact same mistake again. Yes. And our Packard Bell should be more than capable of running this. If it makes another appearance for December, we may have to try this. But Pentium 133 with 16 megs of RAM, 10 megabytes available hard disk space. We got that. We got a vacant PCI expansion card. Sound Blaster compatible audio card. Yep, we've got that. We don't have the PC DVD drive that this would have been included with, but we do have a DVD drive. We got SVGA graphics adapter, Windows 95. So I do believe all right. It may or may not work, though. I don't have the correct graphics card on board, but we shall see. Hardware Hackers asking, have you missed any regrets? You did miss 2 potential regrets. You joined just in time for the 3rd from the same seller. So there's our DVD decoder card for the Packard Bell. Hopefully it works. All right, the next item comes to us from an eBay seller in Ohio. So Ohio, to all my eBay sellers and viewers in Ohio. Yep, I believe this was the next item. I am doing these in roughly chronological order. This box is a bit heavier than I am expecting for the item that I think is in here. Oh, because there's packing peanuts in here. Great. Oh, that's right. Okay. All right. Well, not packing peanuts, but foam. Chunks of foam that are shedding, so actually maybe just as annoying. We have an 8-bit video card. I don't want to get these little foam bits in my Lunchbox PC. Hardware Hacker says, due to the compatibility and weird DOS memory issues, I ordered a PC compatibility card. Nice. So it looks like this eBay seller included a little, oh, that's neat, a laser-etched trinket. Have a most blessed day. Home is where the heart is. Nice. All right. This is not the only eBay seller this week that has included some little trinket in the box. Another item that was not shown tonight because it has nothing to do with the channel. They included a bookmark, which will come in handy as I read my book on Tolkien. All right, we have let me see here. All right, so we have a Paradise VGA video card, 8-bit, but it included, okay, I thought it had, nope, that's the invoice. Okay. I thought it had the box with it, but I must have misidentified what these were and thought one was the box. So in reality, it looks like it comes with the original manuals, which are still pretty cool because of the artwork. And it also has the driver discs. So that is equally as useful. Very pricey. It'll be in a rather expensive December video. Oh well. I'm sure it will be a great December video. And I look forward to seeing it. And yeah, those DOS compatibility cards are not cheap. But anyways, so there we go. We got a Paradise video card with the driver discs and manuals. Slightly bummed that I misidentified manuals as the box, but because I kind of wanted to set the box on one of my shelves. But I guess, well, okay, I misidentified, but I still have the artwork. It's just on a manual and not a box. I guess I could always get one of those little artwork display things and display the manual. Alright, so this next item comes to us from an eBay seller in Virginia. So, hi to all my eBay sellers and viewers in Virginia. In fact, this item was probably an hour and a half away, but I went ahead and let them ship it because I think it had free shipping. Also, I made an offer on this item because I didn't want to pay their full price, and I'd been watching it for a while. So I made an offer closer to what eBay said the item was worth. I guess I was maybe feeling a bit more generous. Well, that, and it had free shipping, so otherwise I probably would have lowballed them a little more to make up for me having to pay shipping. But I think this was the hottest thing around at one point. I'll let someone realize that that was a pun. Although I believe IBM did make hotter processors. But this was the hottest thing around at one point for PC. So we have an IBM 6X86MX PR300 processor. So yes, for those of you that might realize, this is a Cyrix 6X86MX. IBM was their fab. So IBM... Oh, in fact, it looks like this was pulled out of an IBM computer, because there's the IBM FRU number. But yeah, so Cyrix used IBM as one of their fabs, and the agreement allowed IBM to also make the processor with an IBM logo and sell it as their own brand. So... Now, for those of you that don't realize my pun on hottest thing around, these were not exactly cool running processors. A heatsink and fan is absolutely required, because I suspect these things, while they won't go AMD Athlon Thunderbird, I don't think it would take them long to burn themselves out from running too hot without a heatsink. Because I remember back in the day, customers who we sold a Cyrix computer to, or they had bought a Cyrix computer from somewhere, and somehow they managed to cause the... I think in one case, the fan got clogged with dust, and they'd had it for a while. I think in another case, the heatsink actually came detached off the socket, probably because one of the clips broke. And I believe in both cases the processor was toast. So yeah, we will not be trying this without a heatsink. Oh, also, for anyone wondering, if you do the math, 75 megahertz times 3 is not 300. Don't you all remember the processor ratings of the mid to late 90s? Yeah, that was awful. So yeah, this runs at 225 megahertz, and IBM/Cyrix claimed it had the performance of a 300 megahertz processor. Of course, they're implying a 300 megahertz Intel processor. Although maybe if I don't know, maybe comparing to AMD might have been a bit better, but I'd been watching this, and I finally got to the point where I noticed the listing was going to relist. I think it was last week, and I decided to just go ahead and make an offer, and they accepted it. So we'll have to check that out later this month if I don't run out of live stream opportunities. All right, and this last potential regret comes to us from an eBay seller in Idaho. So, hi to all my eBay sellers and viewers in Idaho. Yeah. Okay, I bought another one of those Kuwell add-on cards. I've got a couple of computers I'm trying to, like, put together. So I went ahead and bought one more add-on card to make sure I had enough I/O controllers. So this one's like, I don't think it's sealed, but it's complete in box. So yeah, one IDE, one floppy, I think 2 serials, a parallel, and a game port. A solid I/O controller for 386 to 486. Possibly even 286 if I needed to. So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, this box looks familiar because I've bought like 3 or 4 of them. But I have like 3 or 4 computers that are all in stages of I would like to finally put them together. And I realized my bottleneck is having enough controller cards that are reliable. So, yeah, I was kind of thinking that maybe the last live stream of the year, which I guess would be in 2 Tuesdays, I might just do a PC marathon where I just try to put a couple of PCs together that are MS-DOS based PCs. So, oh, also, if anyone's wondering, I actually have scheduled live streams through next week. Topics are pending, of course, that I don't get stuck on a system and need another night. But I guess in this transition, because this is probably not a potential regret, because this comes from Memory Masters, an eBay seller I'll actually call out by name. Let's see here. So tonight we're looking at the Lunchbox PC. We're going to try to multi-boot it. I'm also want to try to set up the RGB to HDMI on the original video card. I believe Thursday. All right, let me look at let me go actually look at my scheduled live streams to make sure I don't get nights mixed up. So, let's see here, my videos. All right. So, yep. So, Thursday we are going to continue looking at the IBM 5150. Assuming I can find the caps I ordered for the floppy drives, because if I recap the floppy drives, then I think I can put that computer back together. And we can check it out with the original floppy drive, or with the original power supply. Because that'll be nice to get that computer back together. Then, next Monday, we are going to have the mid-December game break. Because I have more broken game consoles to look at. Because I went to a video game store Saturday. They had a bin of broken game consoles for cheap. And I bought a couple. I was there because I went to go get a power adapter for my Genesis 2 and a video cable, since I had been unsuccessful buying one from Amazon and eBay. I have confirmed the power adapter I bought at the video game store does actually work. And yes, the Genesis 2 was one of the broken consoles I bought at the video game store. So next Monday, we're going to be having the video game break because the consoles are broken. And I'm going to try to fix some of them. And then next Tuesday, I'm going to continue looking at the Gateway Profile 3 and try to put it back together again. So that is the next 2 weeks of live streams as we took our little pause transition. And then I'm thinking maybe finally for, I guess it'd be 2 Tuesdays from tonight, which I think is going to be like December 30th, if I've done the math correctly. Then maybe that'll be when I do the PC race to finish live stream. Because I do have a 386 I've been trying to put together. And I think I've got a Pentium Pro system I'd like to put together. Or two. There might be 2 Pentium Pro systems. And I probably have at least a 486 or something. So anyways, I think I've got enough parts to put a couple PCs together. Actually, like, try to put them together in cases and to the point where they boot MS-DOS. We may not install DOS on them because I may focus on at least getting them together so that they can boot DOS. But that gets me to a place where, A, they're put together in a case and self-contained, because computers that are assembled take up less space than computers that are disassembled. And B, then that kind of gets me set up to, I guess, more gradually work on those next year. So anyways, you're probably wondering what is in the cute little box from Memory Master, so I will not belabor this too much longer. But I went ahead and bought memory for, I think, projects that I'd like to take on over the next month and a half or so. So this does have more than just December in it. All right, and in no particular order, I have 64 megabytes of 30-pin SIMs. Another 64 megabytes of 30-pin SIMs. So these are for 2 different Macintoshes. I have some low-profile 4 megabyte 30-pin SIMs that are parity. And another set of those. These are for the other Lunchbox PC. And then, because I am entirely crazy, I have a 64 megabyte EDO parity SIM. Another one. Another one. And another one. And if you're wondering what those are for one of the Pentium Pro systems. I'm going to chock it full of RAM. And if you're wondering which Macintoshes get the lovely, lovely memory, one of those memory kits is for the Quadra 700. And the other one is for the 2 Psi, because I'm crazy. Although we may borrow one of those packages of 4 megabyte SIMs if we have time tonight, because I'd like to see if they work in the Rampat card. So, anyways, so there we go. That was Wheel of Regrets. And, oh, good. It took only about 30 minutes. Excellent. All right. So, the first thing I would like to do tonight, because I would like to get this thing completely back together, and I have an idea of what I need to do to get one item done, is I would first like to see if I can't get the original video card working with external video. and I looked up on the RGB to HDMI wiki, and there is a way to create a profile on the device. And you do need to know at least one thing about your video card, and so we got 21.47727 and 3.579545 megahertz crystals on this board. And I'm wondering if the problem with the RGB to HDMI is that the crystals are not running at the correct frequency for the standard CGA profile. So, also possible this video card is broken. Let's see here. 3579545. Oh, okay. So this crystal here, which you can't see because it's slightly off frame. Okay, so this crystal here is the standard NTSC frequency. I don't know what it's going to. Now, this one here, this one, 21.47727. Let me pull out the calculator. I believe that one, let's see, divided by 6. Oh, divided by 6, that is the 3.579545. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. So divided by 6, that is the correct frequency. Well, that does put a... Because because one of the things you have to tell the RGB to HDMI, one of the things you can tell it is the dot clock. And I had almost convinced myself, without looking at this card, that one of those two crystals was possibly going to be like a PAL frequency. So... wondering if the jumpers are actually the problem, but I have yet to find this card on the internet. It is a so the video chip is a Yamaha V6355D-F, and I found the data sheet for the chip. Unfortunately, the data sheet for the chip makes it seem like this is just a standard CGA card, but the external display it seems like there's something different about it from standard CGA. Or there's something wrong with the external output. That is also entirely possible. I was kind of hoping to get this card working so I could, like, set things up with a CGA card. Yeah, Sadmax says it might be a jumper problem without the manual we're at a loss. Yeah, that is also the case. So let me do a quick search here. 6355D-F. Let's see here. Well, I see where someone on the VCF forums created a gem driver for it. There are data sheets for the chip. The data sheet says it can be connected to both LCD and CRT displays. All right, let me see if I overlooked something in the data sheet real quick. All right, screen modes are available in combinations of the following: horizontal dot number 640, 320, 512, 256, vertical dot number 192, 200, 204, and 64. 64 only with LCD. Capable of displaying 16 colors and 640 by 204 by using external circuits. CRT monitor selectable from between IBM Color, Monochrome, NTSC system, and PAL system. Can be interfaced with 3 types of LCD driver. Usable 16-bit bus CPU. Obviously, it's a generic data sheet. All right, I'm looking to see if there's any mention of anything that might help them. All right, so when used, okay, so there's a. I'm not sharing because I'm trying to read this data sheet real quick, easily without getting a crick in my neck. Okay, very interesting. So it says when using a CRT display, DRAM is used. And when using an LCD display, SRAM used. Does this card have both DRAM and SRAM on it? Let me look at it real quick. Or it could be that it can use both DRAM and SRAM, and the examples are just showing. Oh, that might be what it is, because I think this card only has DRAM on it. Okay, that's probably what it is. Although I did just notice that there is. Ooh, this has a couple of Hitachi chips on it. I've had bad luck with those in the past. Are any of those Hitachi chips on the TTL output? Not that I can tell. Alright. So. Unfortunately, this is just a generic data sheet. So there's seemingly no mention of jumpers. Although seemingly there should be, because somehow you have to tell it what external monitor type there is. It's not a great scan, so... Yeah, alright. Let me see if I can find any manuals for the video cards. Here we go. So there's a page on the I'm looking on the VGA Museum right now. I'm looking to see if I think I'd already checked. I don't think there were any cards exactly like this on the VGA Museum. The card they do have with this chipset does not have any jumper switches on it. So all right. Let me do one last search. I think we may just have to do tonight's work with the VGA card. Oh, hold on. Oh, here's a page on that video chip. Registers. Emulation of the 6845 CRTC is partial. Video is output at fixed timings and writes to CRTC registers have no effect. The usual CGA mode control register is extended to support 2 extra modes. Interesting. Two extra modes can be locked out, apparently. Alright, does this page have any mention of jumper settings? Interesting. Alright, I think I just figured something out about this card. I think what I'm probably going to have to do to get the external display to work is I'm probably going to have to put the card in the computer, run it with the LCD panel, and read some of the registers on the card to see how the card is getting initialized in the computer so that I can tell what monitor mode the card gets initialized to. Or actually we might be able to brute force this. I'm actually tempted to try to brute force this. All right. All right. Because I've got the data sheet, so I know how many horizontal dots the card supports. And I know how many vertical dots the card supports. Oh, hi, Mega. Welcome. No, it's a Yamaha. It is a Yamaha video chip. I'd like to get it working with my RGB to HDMI. And I think it's running at a slightly non-standard resolution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the VGA card out. So let's just try brute forcing this. All right, so we are going to, yeah, Yamaha Video. They're not yeah, obviously they don't make video chips today, but apparently in the early days of computers, they made a video chip. So what I'm going to do is I did hook the LCD cable back up because I do want the card to, because I want to, because I'm trying to make an RGB to HDMI profile that'll work when the LCD panel is connected. And I do know it is outputting something, but it appears to not be at the standard. All right, let me make sure I got the correct input here. All right. Okay, so, all right. Mega says, who would win in a fist fight, Realtek Video or Yamaha Video? I'm going to have to vote Yamaha because OPL 2 and 3, but I haven't benchmarked them to know. So anyways, all right, I got the video card in. I got the system powered up. All right, flickering video warning. All right, so no sync detected, but I can definitely tell there is something on the screen. So, all right, with the information we have from the data sheet in this website, I am going to create a custom profile. All right. And let's see here. I'm going to try to auto calibrate video sampling. All right, that I don't think that. Whoops. All right, let's see here. So let's try resolution. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's the oh, never mind. I think that's output. I want to leave that on auto. Auto. Okay. So, let's see here. Scaling. Settings menu. I'm trying to remember. I should probably just go to the wiki and. Nope, that's not the one I want. Is it geometry menu, I think? Ooh. I'm video type. Wait a minute. Is this no. I don't think that's interlaced. All right. Auto. Oh, I have a feeling we have the wrong clock. Here we go. Lines per frame. All right, let's see. Lines per frame. That is going to be... Um... That doesn't seem right. All right. Let's see. Setup mode. All right. Let me go pull up the wiki for RGB to HDMI real quick. Okay. Seemingly, there's a video image there. There is a way to create a profile. Tutorial on adding a new profile. All right. Under construction, of course. All right, so you need to know at least some of the following. The pixel resolution of the computer video output. If it has multiple resolutions, you need the highest one. Okay. I've got that. The pixel clock frequency. So usually be the frequency of one of the crystals on the video card or a half or quarter of that value. Okay, I do know what value crystals are on the board. The number of clock cycles per line or line length. All right, if you already know the pixel clock frequency, then you don't need to know this. All right. So, first select one of the base profiles. Then fill computer with alternate vertical lines of black and white. Okay, well, I'm going to try to skip that at the moment. Okay, so then select the Create Custom Profile menu. Create Custom Profile menu. All right. All right, I've tried that. Okay. Oh. Is my firmware too old? Hold, please. Oh no, I should have late enough firmware. It's just the create custom profile doesn't bring up the menu they show in the instructions. Alright. I'm just going to have to find a menu that... I am tempted to try to change... that's... That's not helping at all. Setup mode. Alright, what are the setup modes? Set clock line. Set maximum. Set min. I don't know. Alright, I'm going to restart. Okay. Help create profile. I don't know. It's not working the way the wiki seems to imply. Says image must be static, but the image is static. I don't know. Sampling menu. Okay, well, it's not that one. Sync edge trailing. Leading. No, leading. Trail. I don't know which one's supposed to be. Clock multiplier. Okay, that's not doing anything. Geometry menu. The datasheet says the maximum horizontal is 640. Oh, I went too far. I don't know what this is doing. I'm going to give up here momentarily because the wiki seems to be wrong. And then the maximum vertical looks like 204. All right. Minimum horizontal width is 256. Interesting. And minimum V width is I have no idea if I'm even doing this right. Interesting. I don't think I'm doing this right. All right. So 640 by that doesn't I don't know. I'm okay. That doesn't look right. Geometry, no sync detected. I mean, I see it looks like there is something on the external output. Unfortunately, I think the clock frequency needs to go up to I don't know. All right, I think I'm gonna have to like. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna be able to use the CGA card tonight. That's enough painful dorking with it. The wiki is wrong on the RGB to HDMI page. In that the wiki is telling you that you create a new profile and it's going to bring up a menu, and it does not bring up the menu. I mean, I guess I could, but wait a minute. I know I've got new enough firmware because the last firmware they released was in February of last year, and I know I've created a new card since then. I mean, I guess I could see if they've got another beta release. Um, Actually, there is newer firmware on a fork. There's a fork repository. All right. Okay, I'm gonna try this. We'll give it one more try. I'll download the latest firmware for the RGB to HDMI. It's beta. All right. I'll update the firmware. We'll try that. We'll see if maybe the create profile menu works like the wiki says. All right. All right. Let's see here. All right. Maybe I should just erase this card format. All right. All right. Close. Let's extract. Okay. Uh, Extracting the firmware onto the micro SD card. One moment, please. It's beta 66. Jesse says my desoldering iron literally just fell apart. It's not my week. Oof. If I can't get the set profile to work, then I will probably have to send a message to the RGB to HDMI project. Hi, Socket Wrench. Welcome. All right. Actually, I will take a quick look at one of the profiles on my desktop to see if maybe I can guess. Maybe I can just create a new profile here real quick on my desktop. Or at least one that I can fine tune on the. Well, if I can figure out where the profiles are. All right. All right. There's a profiles folder. Simple. Oh, there we go. Here they are. IBM PC compatible. that didn't, there we go. Okay. Okay, so new firmware is on the micro SD card. Let me boot the Pi. If I can plug it in. All right, there we go. Um, I think that's the one I want. Hi, Gapam, welcome. All right. Okay. I definitely know we are. All right, we definitely have the wrong profile selected. Profile is not Amiga. All right, so we get to scroll until we find the IBM. Unfortunately, the way the profiles are on the card, they're not in alphabetical order. I think you're supposed to select one that should be close, which... Yes, a list of profiles would be nice, instead of making you scroll one by one. But no, they make you scroll one by one. Because you can't really multi-scroll because it loads the profile when you press the button. Presumably so you can see if it's the correct profile or not, if there's more than one possibility, but there is no way to, like, expedite scroll through the list, say, because you know that it's not going to match a Sinclair profile, for example. Well, now that's interesting. Video pack C52. It was interesting only that the scrolling was slower. I may go look and see what frequency that video card used. Theoretically, this should be outputting something close to CGA or MDA. I know I scrolled past IBM, but I guess I wanted to see if anything was closer. Oh, actually, we're back to Amiga. Okay. All right, let's go back to IBM CGA. While I do that, I'm going to unzip the zip file on my computer. So I can look at that one profile that it wasn't scrolling as fast. There's IBM new, IBM old. That's definitely not, that's not a really good, that is not really a great match at all. All right, profiles, 612-bit RGB. Trying to look for that video pack. Hmm. Oh, here we go. Video pack C52. What? 70. Yeah, I don't. All right, so let's just see. I'm gonna give this one last try of. All right, create custom profile menu. So a phase of 5. All right, sampling menu. All right. I don't think this. I don't think the create custom profile is working in the firmware. It's not working the way the wiki page seems to imply it should. I'm not getting the menu that it says should be there. All right. Geometry menu. All right. Let's okay. Let's see. I'm gonna go to the geometry menu here real quick. Let's just see. I've got a so the approximate pixel aspect ratio should be entered in H&V pixel aspect. Okay. You don't know the aspect or unsure, put 0 for both values. Oh. Okay. I'm just trying to... Okay. Max V height should be the maximum number of lines for the video standard. Alright. Max V height. 234. Actually, I believe that is... What? I believe that is wrong for this video card. Max V height is 204. And it is set to 234. Alright. Okay. I wish that was showing a horizontal is going to be 640. Max width should be set to the max V height multiplied by the screen aspect ratio and then divided by the pixel aspect ratio. Okay, max V height multiplied by the screen aspect ratio. What is the screen aspect ratio for CGA? And then divided by the pixel aspect ratio. I don't know that this is really working. Does it work on a real CGA monitor? I don't have room on my workbench for a real CGA monitor. I don't know if it does or not. It probably doesn't, given what I'm seeing. Okay, I give up trying to follow these instructions. They're... The instructions are written assuming that I get to start with a profile. It works with the LCD panel that's in the computer, but I don't know what resolution the LCD panel is. I don't know what the aspect ratio is supposed to be. I don't... I just... I don't know. The wiki for the RGB to HDMI project seems to imply that there's a create new profile menu that is supposed to just work. You select that, and it shows you a menu, and the menu asks a few simple questions that I would theoretically be able to answer, and then we're done, but I don't know. I don't have room for a CGA monitor on my bench. I don't know if it works with a CGA monitor. I don't know why it would work with a CGA monitor and not an RGB to HDMI in CGA mode. Riddle me that. maybe I'm... Alright, so we'll go with the VGA card, because at least it... I don't know, at least it works, but I want to be able to show you what I'm doing, and I can't do that with the stock card unless I can get it to output graphics to the RGB to HDMI. I mean, it looks like by all appearances that it is displaying text from the BIOS post. I don't know why. I'm probably going to have to pull the oscilloscope out, which I don't have room for it on my bench at the moment. And probably try to figure out what the frequency is. Of course, it's also possible that the pinout's different. I don't know what the dip switch settings are on the card. I can't find a manual for the card. So I have too many unknowns. So we're just going to have to move on and use the VGA card and hope that when I actually try to boot this with the CGA card that it actually works. All right. So we are going to... Oh, wait. Enter the product serial number. I knew it was going to ask me for the serial number. All right. Hold please while I try to remember where my system commander disk is. All right. Ah, there we go. All right. All right. Yes, it is a very sharp capture. All right. So why am I using System Commander? Because System Commander says it'll work on an 880x86 computer, where some other boot managers require later processors. I know Retrotech Chris likes boot up bare metal, and that one requires a Pentium or later, I believe. Or at least that's what their website says. I think my scaler is handling this video card better than my multi-sync monitor, because I see jail bars on my multi-sync monitor. Cathode Ray Dude might have made a video about this. Alright. Okay, that's just all nice and all. Thank you, phone. He might have, I don't remember. Oh, well. Are you using disk compression? No. Um, well, that's nice. I don't think I actually have a virus, because I believe that it's seeing the XT IDE Universal BIOS. Mega says, it was a very why does this exist video, lol. Well, it exists so you can multi-boot operating systems. See, there we go. False warnings can occur. B, some hard disk cards steal 1 to 3 kilobytes of conventional memory. That's exactly why it's... Oh, it wanted me to hit escape. Go figure. No, we are not installing Windows 95 on a 286. No, we are not installing that. I'll review those notes later. All right. Exit the DOS. All right. Reboot your system for System Commander to save your hidden DOS files. All right. All right. Yeah, that looks fun. All right, MS-DOS 622. There we go. Look at that. Yep, it hides and unhides partitions on the fly, and that's exactly why I wanted to install System Commander, and apparently it does work on a 286. So there we go. We have our MS-DOS 622. And I believe when I partitioned this, I did leave room. No, I did not. Of course. Okay. Okay, now that we've confirmed that System Commander will work with on a 286, I forgot that I partitioned this drive just all as one big partition. I was going to create a couple of smaller partitions because I want to have. So yeah, I was going to have a DOS 622 partition. I think the partitions I was going to create a DOS 622 partition because why not? And then I wanted a partition for Windows 1 with a appropriate version of DOS, which would not be 622 probably. And then a Windows 2 with its, I guess, contemporary version of MS-DOS. I guess that'd be Windows 286. And then a Windows 3, which I guess I could run Windows 3 on MS-DOS 622. Because Windows 3 will run on a 286. And then, but I was also thinking of installing FreeDOS. But I can only have four physical, what do they call them? Some versions of DOS you can't install in a logical partition. It just won't boot from a logical partition. You can only have 4 main partitions, and if you create a logical partition, that takes away one of the main partitions. So I was trying to decide the 4 DOS combinations. And I guess FreeDOS I could install on another drive, but however, I need to take a brief break before we get to installing DOS. Yeah, FreeDOS is so cool with the network card. So I'm going to go to be right back so I can go upstairs real quick. And I will be right back. So yeah, volume warning on headphones. I've been told it could be a bit loud. Alright, I'm back. And I am like, I don't know, I'm having a miserable stream tonight because I am cold. I haven't had a chance to go to Lowe's to get a replacement big space heater to heat my streaming space up, and my little foot space heater is not doing it. So I'm half battling the ending the stream early so I can go upstairs where it's warm. Because my feet are cold and I don't know, I kind of to the point where I'm like need to just well, I can't go to Lowe's now and get a space heater, but yeah, I'm kind of to the point of I think I realized that yeah, I didn't have a chance to go to Lowe's last night. Of course, it was so cold last night, I didn't want to go anywhere but straight home. And of course, I was going to stream tonight, so I didn't have a chance to go. So I'm kind of thinking that I'm going to call the stream early tonight, and I will make it a point to get a space heater tomorrow night. I I can't stream from upstairs. I have had so many webcams fail, and I don't have a place to stream upstairs that's warm. As Jesse says, we understand. I need to try to get a streaming space upstairs set back up. Because quite honestly, if I'm just doing OS installs, I don't need to do those in the basement. But I have a shortage of webcams because I've had a bunch fail this year. Oh, Gutbum said I wasn't serious. Well, I am halfway serious in wanting to set up a streaming space where I can stream upstairs, or to do things where I'm just doing an OS install, so I don't have to do it down here in the basement. Granted, I won't have a dinosaur to keep me company, but unless I buy another one, but at least have something where I can, like, if it's just an OS install live stream, I can do that. But for tonight, I'm kind of, yeah, Jesse says it's comedy errors here in the world of i386. Yep. Yeah, Soccer Wrench says some nights in the shop just don't turn out. Best to save energy for the next time. Yeah, I'm kind of, my feet are cold. At that point, my feet are cold, I'm cold. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and call the stream now. I guess the good news is I did prove that I can multi-boot this Lunchbox PC. I also proved that I need to get a space heater tomorrow night at Lowe's for Thursday night. So Thursday, we will be looking at the thing I said we would be looking at on Thursday, which is the... I've already forgotten. 5150. Yep. Which means also tomorrow night I will have to get the Lunchbox PC off my workbench. Soccer Wrench says recommendation, an electric radiator. No, I need something that actually will I'm going to have to get something other than a radiator because that won't warm the area around my workbench well enough. I need to get one of something with a fan. But the thing is, I only run it while I'm down here, so yeah, I've tried radiators down here, and unfortunately, they radiate heat. But I need something that's going to direct the heat towards me. So I want to get one. I think what I want to get is one of those tower oscillating heaters that has a fan. Ideally, one that has a fan that has like a low speed, but also has like a low heat setting. Because I don't need much heat, because it goes behind me, which kind of then directs the air towards me. Because if I put it in front of me, then I got monitors blocking the heat flow. But something to keep this area warm. And I thought if it would oscillate and have a fan to kind of direct the heat. I only run it while I'm down here working. So, yeah, an electric blanket won't work, unfortunately. Maybe if it was an electric, trying to think of what's the type of blanket that's got like has a hole cut for you to put your head through, but then it like drapes front and back. An electric one of those. Ideally with maybe, yeah, that might work, but Gutbum says a snuggie or a slanket. Yeah, an electric snuggie. I would never, you all would never let me forget that one if I bought one. Anyways, so I'm going to call the stream to a close for tonight. I did at least prove that you can run System Commander on a 286. And we opened some potential regrets. And, well, we tried to set up the RGB to HDMI for the video card in this Lunchbox computer. So I guess I will give myself a homework assignment. Not that we'll do it next time, but we'll come back around to it. I'm going to try to read up on what all the configuration options in the text file is for setting up an RGB to HDMI profile. Jesse says, you could take out the garbage in a nightgown and slippers at 7 a.m. thing. Thomas says, more voltage. Yeah, that doesn't help the fact that I'm cold. So anyways, yeah, I'll get a space heater tomorrow night. Plus, it's supposed to warm up by the end of the week, so it's gonna be like in the mid 50 degrees Fahrenheit on like this weekend, which means it won't be that cold in my basement come this weekend. But anyways, I'll get a space heater. I'm also gonna read up on the RGB to HDMI configs, so maybe sometime we'll actually be able to create a profile for this computer. And maybe, just maybe, I'll find a manual for a video card that uses this chip, so that maybe we can figure out the dip switches, because it could just be the dip switches are wrong for the external video port. So anyways, with that, I am going to make sure I can end the stream here. So with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out in the chat, being cool, and at least hanging out for a little while before my feet just got cold enough that it's not working. Hey, don't forget to smash that like button. Yes, SadMac says stay warm. Thanks, SadMac. I know I got like 9 viewers right now, so smash that like button. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I go live next. Thursday, we'll be looking at the 5150, getting its floppy drives recapped so we can maybe put it back together. And then next Monday, we're going to take the mid-December game break to fix game consoles. And then next Tuesday, we will be hopefully putting the Gateway Profile 3 back together. Thomas says, we are turning to fish here. So with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. Take care, and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.